What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father at Amazon, Kindle, and Create Space. A link will be in the description box below, as usual. Okay, anyway, this video is entitled, Is There a Toxic Femininity? So, did the video on toxic masculinity yesterday. So today I was like, you know what? Is there a such thing as toxic femininity? And I was listening to the beginning of the show, Jeff Brown's show. If you watch, if you get to Zoe What or Zoe Williams' YouTube page, you'll see like Jeff Brown has shows on Dash Radio too. So he was talking about an attack on masculinity. And there was a particular part about it where he referenced, in some ways, the toxic masculinity thing and the attack on manhood is a pendulum swing where, say in the 60s, they used to depict women as just stupid and who couldn't do anything without a man. So now the pendulum has shifted to the other end where now men are depicted as just stupid and they can't do anything without a woman. And the difference is, I think, the similarity is this. We're talking about family programming. Like, I'm not talking about like blockbuster movies or nothing like that. I'm talking about family programming, like family shows and cartoons. So you're programming, families and children to think this is how it operates. Now, my opinion of it is, and he was like, at some point we're going to have to come to the middle. And this is part of what I'm getting at. Because I think what's going to wind up happening is, at some point, we're going to have to come back to the middle. Because when he was talking about the 60s, maybe, I think the 70s, I don't remember the 80s and the 90s women being this abrasive. And I don't remember in the 80s and 90s men publicly or in media being just totally toxic as far as being masculine. I think they used to have a balance of this is one type of guy, this is another type of guy. Now, I think from the 2000s on, you got to ask, have the women become toxic? And because what's going to happen in the future is people are going to look at how the women dress, how the women carry themselves, what women's agendas were, and they're going to look at it like it is very toxic to relationships. They're going to look at how women wanted to get married, to get divorced. They're going to look at the rearing of children and the parental alienation and the not quote unquote the rape culture, but the fake rape for pay culture. They're going to look at the slut walks and all of this. She's strong and independent and she don't need no man, growing into the fact of like the increase in violence, the uptick in female incarceration, and the rise of even violent mothers to their children. And people are gonna say, man, at this point, the women were toxic in this period. The idea that men didn't want to get married, the MGTOW movement, the men's rights activists, is gonna be in direct response to when feminism went too far. Because I remember in the 80s and 90s, anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you. You know, it's like, okay. And that was a little nice little cheery song that kids could sing, right? So, whatever. We're gonna, talk about how people, those old talk shows where, you know, people made fun of men and talked about men, and you would see it as like an audience full of wives or housewives whose men are out to work, and they're sitting there cracking jokes, making fun of them, when those men afforded them the luxury to be able to watch, to be at a talk show in the middle of the week. But whatever, you know. The culture of not being able, not sustaining a relationship because women have lost their femininity. I think that part of um, females will be looked at in the future as being toxic. Like these women don't do anything that's womanly. The idea of uh, no neutral gender roles, and the idea that these gender roles had to be neutral at somebody's convenience, not their inconvenience. Um, the idea of wanting equality until it's time to actually pay for it. You know what I'm saying? So, in that hypocrisy of it, I think there's going to be such a thing as toxic femininity. Where, you know, the over rebellious culture of women. Let me get 50,000 tattoos and tongue rings and eye piercings and walk around looking like a stripper. And as a matter of fact, the social media culture of basically online prostitution advertisement. The twerking culture that women embraced, as the stripper culture that women embraced. As much as women say, "Oh, we're gonna blame it on the men," nobody's making y'all do these things. Y'all are literally filming yourselves going left. The the alcoholism, the drug use, the over aggression to trying to fight men on a regular basis. Like it used to be, women was not challenging man in a physical fight, but now it's like you see it all the time. Women are just trying to fight guys, and even women got to tell other women, "This is not good. This is not good, baby. This is not a good idea." But nobody says anything. Um, the era of wanting to the entitlement to the point where women have become destructive to other people's lives and other people's property out of having tantrums and just acting like, "Oh, I'm in my feelings. He cheated on me, so I tried to run him over with a car. Oh, he cheated. Oh, so I shot at him. I stabbed him in the heart because I thought he cheated. I stabbed him in the back because I thought, because I got mad. I put the kids in the oven because I just couldn't take it no more." Like, and the crazy part about it is, this is what's happening now, and it's probably been happening for over a decade. You know what I'm saying? Like, the constant ideology for wanting and creating drama in people's lives. The things that women gravitate to as far as media, movies, television shows, which reinforces acting out of pocket. You got to ask yourself. I mean, are we in the age of toxic femininity? Me, I say yeah. And to the point where, it used to be people used to ask men. Men took a longer time of being proper men because their father wasn't in their lives. But now these women who are raised by their mothers are blaming the fact that they don't have a father in their life for the reason why they don't know how to be a proper woman, as if dad was gonna teach your mother how to be a woman, when that's more of a female rite of passage, but it keeps getting overlooked. And you know, you see the culture of just the dress code, dressing like a guy or dressing like a stripper. Like, it's hard to get these people to dress in between. The culture of milfs and cougars and that type of stuff. Matter of fact, more so the culture of advertising your dysfunction for attention. I mean, you can look no further at the particular moment. They have strippers are striking in New York because the bartenders are taking their tips. That has nothing to do with the tricks, or and colorism. Well, yeah, you know what? You're not gonna shake your ass for dollars no more because the drinks are better than your dancing. Like, I think you know, and you could, you know, the stories of women who lied to get ahead and get caught and break down. Like, no, I didn't do that. The stories of women who use their bodies to get ahead, and then 10, 15, 20 years later turned around and said they got assaulted. It's like, oh goodness. You know, the culture of women actually throwing other women under the bus who genuinely should have somebody in their corner. You know, I think, you know, at the end of the day, the current generations of women are gonna do with the generations of women who took on the women's movement in the '60s did. They're gonna let the youth go downhill and act like what they did didn't exist, and act like the ramifications of it don't affect their children, their grandchildren, their great grandchildren. They're just gonna walk off into the sunset and, like, with enough time, y'all will forget I started this. You know, so I think we're in the era of toxic femininity. That's my opinion. We out.